Round 7 of the NRL for footytips.com.au. Sam Bruce alongside Brett Kimmorley. Brett, a big game to kick it off this week, and one we probably didn't expect a few weeks ago.
No, that's right. Round 1 form was stinky from both those sides, and amazing how they've turned their form around. You know, both the most consistent sides in the competition on winning streaks. I'd love to see Jubilee Oval full. You know, that would be a great atmosphere in a game that deserves to be packed with some emotion. Obviously, the Dragons defending extremely well. Benji Marshall had a touch of class last week, but it's now... now they're playing against a quality opposition who are also defending extremely well, who've also got some brilliance in attack. Ben Hunt last week in that Golden Point was absolutely outstanding. The Broncos get the return of Justin Hodges, which I think is a massive confidence boost for them. Wayne Bennett going against his former club, a lot of rivalry there. I think it's going to be a great clash. I think the Broncos get up, but in a very close affair.
Also on Friday night, it's the Bulldogs and Seagulls, a game that we probably thought would have been a hell of a lot better than this other one. Bulldogs coming off that loss last week, while the Seagulls, they're really travelling poorly. Yeah,
both are travelling extremely poor. I think the Dogs and South Sydney both really struggled to come on the back of the controversy the week before. They both played extremely poor last weekend, so the Dogs now have still got players out, but they've had another week to get used to that. The halves are going extremely poor for Canterbury, which is bad news for New South Wales fans. They're just not creating anything in attack. For Manly, they get Jamie Lyon back, and that's obviously a big thing. They've now had Bob Fulton come on as a coaching consultant, something over there at Manly. So they're trying their best to turn it around. I just think they're out of troops, man, and I would just think the Dogs, they've had a bad performance on the back of the controversy against South. Des Hasler's got a week with them. They will just scrape home in probably an ugly affair.
Putting you on the spot, will Josh Reynolds and Trent Hodkinson be the halves for New South Wales?
I think you've got to be very scared if they are at the moment. You know, I think Jared Haynes saved New South Wales halves last year. He was the one that was the ball player, the dynamic player. They're certainly out of form. I think Mitchell Pearce is the form halfback in the competition behind Jonathan Thurston. So, Trent looks like his knee's not quite right. He's not kicking the ball as hard and as long as he did last year, and Josh Reynolds has come back and been inconsistent. So, I think they've got to find a new solution, and I think it'll be depending on who goes with Mitchell Pearce.
Saturday afternoon, it's the Titans and Panthers up there on the Gold Coast. Titans had good win over the Eels, while the Panthers, they just finished a little bit stronger to get the win over Manly.
Yeah, Penrith were okay. You know, obviously they're still waiting for the return of their halves. You know, they're a much better football side, Penrith, when they've got Peter Wallace and Jamie Soward, and especially Jamie Soward back in the side. So Wallace looks like being out for another month. Jamal Idris has been ruled out for the year. The young Jennings brother makes his debut on Saturday night, and I'm led to believe by expectations he's supposed to be the best in the family. So it's going to be interesting to see how he goes making his debut on the Gold Coast. Where the Titans, they've had those players come back a few weeks ago from the drug charge or the court hearings. They've sort of got some consistency now. They're rebuilding a little bit. I just think they're playing a tougher, more resilient style of football. They're at home on the Gold Coast, so I'm going to tip the home side in the Titans.
Saturday night, the Cowboys and the Warriors, two teams in form. Jonathan Thurston, he just seems to have gone to another level yet again.
Yeah, he's an amazing player. Now, he already owns 3 Dally M's. In the last 3 weeks, he's got 3 back-to-back man of the match performances, and he's got him out of jail every week. Just the touch of class that he presents. Lachlan Coote starting to find a bit of form, a bit of combination happening around the halves at the Cowboys. And they're saying, that they've turned their season around through some good defence as well. They held South Sydney to not many points the other day. They scored some great tries in attack. They blew them away. The Warriors team have got to learn how to travel. The Warriors team have got to learn to be consistent, because they got up last week for Manu's 200th game. That was easy to get up for. Sean Johnson showed some class. Chad Townsend, I think, is doing actually the starring role for the Warriors. But until they learn to travel, until they find some consistency against a red-hot Cowboys side, I'm going to tip the Cowboys.
Fair to say a different Cowboys pack to what we saw in those first 3 weeks?
Yeah, definitely much different. The front row combination has improved and got a bit more aggressive. Tumalolo has been damaging, and Cooper at the left back row has been really good for him. So I think they're just all doing their job. They're all doing their job, and all of a sudden it's starting to click. Confidence in rugby league is amazing. You play so much better when you're just going through the motions and things are happening, rather than when you're out of form, you're trying to force a bit of the issue, and normally you come up with a lot of mistakes, and you feel a bit heavier carrying the weight of we need to win on the shoulders every week.
Another big game on Saturday night is the Storm and the Roosters down there at Amy Park. Storm really had to work for that win over the Raiders, while the Roosters, they were beaten in Golden Point up there against Brisbane.
Yeah, that's right. The Roosters have been off the ball a little bit. Yep. They've come back to the pack. Obviously the competition's not as easily won as it is we thought at the start of the year. So they've got to turn their form around the Roosters. Obviously, Jared Wawerea-Hargraves was a bit loose last week. He got found out a bit by Sam Thaiday and got niggled and hassled, and obviously didn't enjoy that very well. James Maloney's been missing 1,000 tackles the last few weeks. He's under pressure. Mitchell Pearce has been going great for him, but they've got to rely more on the whole team combination rather than just Mitchell Pearce. Where the Storm, they're just great at grinding out wins. You know, when you've got Cameron Smith and Cooper Cronk on your side, they just know how to handle pressure situations. They worked extremely hard in Canberra. Canberra might have been the better side, but they still didn't get the points. Cameron Munster's done a wonderful job coming in for Billy Slater. They're at home. I would expect Melbourne to win that one.
Sunday afternoons, West Tigers and Canberra Raiders there at Leichhardt. Some great old school Sunday afternoon footy. Two sides coming off a loss. How do you see this one?
Yeah, it's going to be a good game. Two sides that are travelling okay. You know, they're not that far away from winning games. They're in close competitions. Ricky Stewart was saying he was really happy with how Canberra played last week. They were the better side against the Storm. Obviously, Sam Williams is still in the hubs, and Sam Williams just delivers a bit of more game plan, stays in the system better. I think Blake Austin has been the shining light for the Canberra Raiders. He returns against the Tigers that couldn't find a genuine position for him, so he might have a point to prove coming to Leichhardt. You would think and hope that a Sunday afternoon it would be packed house at Leichhardt. Tigers a little bit unlucky against the Warriors, but I think at home with that back at Leichhardt type of thing, I think they'll just get home.
Newcastle and Parramatta there at Hunter Stadium, also on Sunday afternoon. Two teams again coming off a loss, and two teams there pretty hard to get a read on now.
Yeah, two teams under pressure. You know, really under pressure. You know, Brad Arthur's been under a lot of pressure. He's only won 2 out of 6 games. He was certainly spoke up upon. They can't win away from home, so it's going to struggle to go to Newcastle. They're out of troops. They're struggling for some cohesion there. And Newcastle, who started the season so well, 4 straight wins, have gone back-to-back losses, and all of a sudden their world's exploding a bit up there as well. So it's a big game for both sides to get back on the winning streak, trying to get a victory on board. I just think the Newcastle forward pack need to stand up at home. They need to be much more aggressive and outmuscle the Parramatta forward pack, because if they do that, then I think that's enough for Newcastle to get the victory. And obviously Jared Moen, if he stands up and has a game, will get the Newcastle Knights home.
Round 7 is wrapping up with the Sharks and South Sydney down there at Ramondas Stadium on Monday night. The Sharks 2 in a row, while the Bunnies, they're struggling without Adam Reynolds.
Yeah, that's right, and we're unsure still whether John Sutton's going to play. They lacked the game plan management last week, South Sydney. They were in front for the game, and then all of a sudden they got behind and they lost the plot a little bit. So Luke Geary's a wonderful player, but when you lose Adam Reynolds, builds game plans, great kicking game for you. They just build that wear you down mentality. They didn't have that last week. And I think the Cowboys have shown the Sharks a blueprint on how to beat them. Sharks will outmuscle South Sydney in the middle. Get in a dogfight, wear them out, and try and get scrappy enough, then rely on field position yourself. So the Sharks are doing that extremely well the last 2 weeks. Their completion rate's improved, their simplicity's improved, and obviously Jack Bird for the Sharks has been a shining light. So I would say that the Sharks will give them a contest. I wouldn't be surprised if the Sharks are leading at some stage, but I just think the class of South Sydney might just get them home.
Brett, it's been tough tipping lately. You want to run through your tips again here?
Yeah, good luck with listening to this. Broncos, Bulldogs, Titans, Cowboys and Storm. Sunday afternoon we'll go West Tigers, Newcastle Knights, 2 home sides, and obviously wrapping up with South Sydney away on Monday at Ramondas.
Round 7 of the NRL should be another tough one.